Hi guys to everyone, I'm Ada from Poison Rock, and today it's my pleasure to have with us Benjamin from Binary Order, but let's say you're a kind of solo project. It's all you. If I'm
Yeah, yeah. I'm a one-man band,
yeah,
but with
yeah.
the thing on my back. So yeah, it's just me.
So how are you first of all, Benjamin?
Yeah, I'm good today. Yeah, I've been working on music all day this morning and sort of like tearing myself away from it, which is good because I need to sort of get like fresh ears on it and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm good.
So you're working a lot basically. I mean, it's all focused into music at the moment because of
Yeah,
like we mentioning before, there is an upcoming album that is going to be out the 28th of October. And the title is quite interesting because, and I like it because it's the future belong to the Mets, and it's
yeah.
of course belong to us. So it's
Yeah. Um, no one's asked me about that yet, but it's the tagline for Mad Max Fury Road, if you're familiar with the film.
of course I saw
Uh,
all of them from when Mel Gibson with the last one.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a huge fan of that franchise.
Me too.
And
That's
I've got the poster for Fury Road in my living room. And I was home alone one day and I was listening to an early mix of the album. It hadn't had a title yet. And I was just like looking at the poster, not really paying attention. And it's got the words, "The future belongs to the mad" in it. I was like, oh, I think I take that.
that's
And I did.
cool.
And yeah, that's where I got it from. And the
Cool.
previous album was a line from Dune as well. So
That's
there's
such
all
from the deep.
references.
Is
Yeah,
that it was your first album that you released, or you previously released some EPs?
yeah, kind of. I've been doing stuff for ages, but the last album was sort of like I wiped the slate clean and said, like, I'm starting
That's so.
again with this.
Let's say
Yeah.
that not your turning point, but binary order. Benjamin start with message from the from the deep.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like I got a lot of things established that I quite like at that point. My sound for one, and like the aesthetics and the font and that kind of thing, and just my vocal performance as well. I think like I finally got to a place I was happy with some of the stuff on it. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it was like a fresh start essentially.
So, yeah, and before we focus a little bit about the future belongs to the man, so to us, I will change the title. The future belongs to us because we are all mad and it's beautiful.
Hmm.
Uh, Message from the deep, which is the meaning that you gave to this album? Because of course, people that are not aware of your type of music is really particular. Is
Yeah,
really is not because when people I'm not a fan of labeling music. I hate it. I don't want to say that you're industrial, you're death metal.
yeah,
Do not label because otherwise I would be poison folk probably. Let's not label.
okay.
We are
Yeah,
open to everything. So it's a kind of, let's say, of experimenting music, avant-garde, industrial. So your music is particular, and message from the deep, as well as it says from the title that kind of have a deep meaning. The album itself. If I'm
yeah,
So that's my point of view. But I wanted to explain
yeah.
your point of view because you are the writer behind it.
Yeah, I always find other people's interpretations a lot more interesting than my own with my own music.
I want to do the interviews. I can't interview myself.
Exactly. Yeah, you are well, you're more interested than me, but yeah, Message from the Deep. It's a line taken from the opening of the 2021 adaptation of Dune. It's the first thing that's said before any of the title crawl, and I remember seeing it, and it really sort of stuck with me. And I was having really, really intense nightmares around the time I was writing that album, and I got into Dune at the same time. And a lot of Dune is about premonition and
So
like the nightmare.
you're
Sorry.
really close to the cinema. Like I think if I'm understanding right, your passion and another one of your passion comes from the movies.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff like
We will
Slow
go through
Blade.
that. We will go through that in a while. Don't worry.
Yeah, with like the Slow Blade, the first single off Future Belongs to the Mad, like that title is a reference to Dune again.
Yeah.
There's some references to Terminator in some of the lyrics in that song. I've got a song on the new album called Hope is a Mistake, and that's a line from Fury Road. So there's all like little bits all over the place, and I do it for my own because I love it when I'm able to sort of reference other stuff that I love, and I'm always trying to add that into my own
Yeah.
music.
But as well, like these, let's say, these influences from the movies or from lines, moments from the movies, for you put it into an album and your music, they have kind
Mhm.
of influenced you in the first place, I think as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely sort of like feeding into each other massively.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the movies I grew up watching, like the earlier Mad Maxes, I grew up with like a VHS copy of Beyond Thunderdome.
Beautiful,
And yeah, like I'm a huge Tina Turner fan because of
beautiful.
that as well. And
Yeah,
we don't need another hero, all that stuff. And it's like all these years later when I'm making my own music, it's all being pulled from these things I've grown up with.
yeah, as well. So you basically, I mean, you as well can we can understand from this, I mean, from like this kind of, let's say, influences, small hint of movies of experience that is a little bit as well about you. So
Mm.
about your taste. So it comes natural to me ask you something that I usually ask at the beginning, but
Yeah.
we did something backwards, which are how you, Benjamin, getting close with music. So how you start, not how you started binary order, but how you started really to just, I want to just compose. I'm a 5 years, 5 years kid, and I don't know, I want to start to sing, want to start to
It's
compose. How?
it's a good question actually. I remember distinctly we had like a school parents' day or something, and we've got a song over here called Music Man, and it's like I am the music man, I come from far away. And I remember it playing, and I said to a friend of mine, I hate music because I hated that song and I hated the stuff
You had
we were getting played it because it was all like religious hymns and all
yeah.
this stuff, and I hated it. And I must have been like 8 at that point. And I've always like now I always sort of like look back on that and think it's quite funny. But when I sort of became 13, 14, new metal was really big at the time, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, and Papa Roach. It was 2000, and me and some other friends at school were like starting bands, and we were learning instruments and getting into popular music that was around at the
Yeah.
time. And I always remember from very early on wanting to write my own stuff. I had a pull towards it. I had friends that were learning like guitar riffs and tabs and this kind of stuff, and they all wanted to do covers, and I was always more interested in just writing my own stuff. And yeah, just it's something that was always there from the very beginning. I always wanted to do my own thing, and I covered a Papa Roach song
I-
about 3, 4 months ago now.
That's super cool.
Sorry.
Papa Roach are super cool band. Yeah.
I love them. It's
Yeah.
been like, being one of their fans has been difficult sometimes. There's like a lot of people have a lot of opinions on them, but like I've continued to love that band. And
Fair.
that's the doing the cover for me was sort of like the other way round. It was a chance to do something that was more like it was easier because it was more restrictive. Like the song's already there and I changed it, but I didn't have to worry about, thinking of lyrics and all this stuff. And I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it that aspect.
Do that. And I mean, what it brings you to, I mean, of course, like you were saying, getting close to the music and starting to, for example, covering it, to move and do your own music. There
Mm.
was a turning point in that you said that's the moment that I'm doing my own music and started to be what you are today, who you are today. So binary or
Yeah, through my teens, I was in bands with other people, and I always found there was like a lack of enthusiasm, and I was always quite controlling, for better or worse, and I was always sort of taking charge and writing everything and being sort of pulling everyone together. And, people sort of just drifted off all the time. And when I sort of hit my early 20s, I was getting more into like electro music at that point, and I was really big Nine Inch Nails fan. And Trent Reznor is quite famous for being like the main guy behind Nine Inch Nails, and I took a lot of influence from that when I was at uni, and sort of I'm just going to do this on my own. And it took me years to sort of build everything together because I'm writing, producing all these different instruments and stuff. So, but
that's
yeah, there was a big turning point around that time.
yeah, because that's being like a solo project one-man band. I like a more solo project because it's all you taking care of everything. So that's well as you that take care of the mastering of of your work.
Yeah, the producing and the mastering
Oh
is
shit. Sorry,
that's
but
an art in itself.
it's a lot.
Sorry.
I said that's
Yeah,
a lot for
it's
yourself.
like, well, like, because you got to learn to sing, you got to learn to play guitar, you got to learn to write, and then I've had to learn how to program drums, and then I need to mix and produce it all, which has been, at university I studied journalism. I wish, in retrospect, I studied music, and I probably would have been able to get a little bit further
But that's
earlier,
helpful.
but yeah.
But that's helpful
Sorry.
because that's helpful for as well if you study journalism because you can understand how to sell yourself outside, how to work
Yeah.
that. Yet use
I
that.
should be better at it. I'm really bad at selling myself. I don't even know what, you said you don't like labels, but you need, when you're working with PR people and you're putting
Yeah.
stuff out there, you need genres because otherwise people aren't going to click on something. And I struggle with the genre of what Binary Order is. I don't know if you've heard the whole of the new album, but there's some like IDM stuff on there that I'm really leaning into. And the fourth single is going to be the track called Skin, which is like a straight up IDM track. And I don't know how people are going to receive it, but I'm quite excited
Oh,
about it.
that's good because it's not it's more like experimental music because
Mm.
when you're interviewing when you're meeting a new musician it could be because I am a human being as you we are all human beings even if you interview Megadeth all that we are human beings of
Yeah.
course if we are interviewing Iron Maiden we know for a fact they were in the new wave British heavy metal so they were heavy metal we knew that for a
Yeah.
sure they were the pioneers. Today we have so many nuances of music that we can't really label. There are bands from I think I don't know where they some not even Siberia, even further. They mix folk to electronic, which is
Yeah.
now they call it folktronic. And I was like, what is that? I was doing meditation. I was like, something wrong with my meditation. I start to hearing some beat. So
Yeah.
and I choose them to interview, for example, DJ. So people went talk with me and say, why are you interviewing a DJ? Why
Mm.
not? That's
Yeah.
even if you're a DJ, you are producing different types of music. You can be an ecstatic DJs. You can be, I don't know, EBDM, whatever, DJs. It's a
Mm.
you're creating music.
Yeah.
So they'd say to me, oh my, it's poison rock. It's
Mm.
not poison. It doesn't matter. It's all music. It's all music. It's all
Yeah.
nuances. So I think for you just to be, it's you. It's binary order. It's experimental music. It's new. It's fresh. It's something. Of course, like you said, you need to label for be like sell to
Yeah.
people. But it's better when you're fresh. Like it's just myself. That's why sometimes PR use sometimes small clip of people just it's me expressing themselves, like the genre expressed by your own word. Like
Yeah.
is a journey into this kind of work. In your example, as if I would do a review of your work, and after this interview, I would say that it's like a journey between an afterword, but not afterword of that, but something that could be from, I don't know, something from the contemporary area or something
Yeah.
from that, but as well with a look to the apocalyptic one. Cannot,
Yeah.
but not apocalyptic only in the real world, meaning desert, like we said in Mad Max, but as well something that can apply to us. I'm living today. If there is something happening to me and destroy my today, of course I'm living in an apocalyptic moment because it's changing. So what I should do to build something new, what we was left. So it's like a journey through the contemporary era, but with something from the past, because that's what is apocalypse, and something from the future, and meet
Yeah.
from all the three areas. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
That
what I
makes,
would describe your work. Is how if I was doing a review of your album.
that's
That
that's a pretty good description.
thank
I
you.
like it. Yeah, no, it's good. I've always sort of taken from that dystopian aspect, like the album art for the new
Exactly.
album, and the is very much that. It took me a while. It's AI generated, which I know people got opinions on, but it took me a while to get like a piece that looked like empty and desolate the way I wanted it. And I think like a lot of the subjects I'm talking on about are sort of exaggerations or dramatizations of things that I'm going through. For like, I suppose I don't know what the word is, but there's sort of the dramatizations for the effect of the music, and I think taking from like the dystopian sort of mindset really helps me ground the music and have a like a way
Yeah.
through it all. A through line is the word I'm looking
Yeah.
for.
So, and then just because, of course, we want always to remind the date of release because sometimes people hear at the beginning and they forgot it. Is the
Yeah.
28th. You mentioned that you will release some other single before the album releases.
Yeah, I've the next single comes out tomorrow, the 17th of October. I don't know when this interview's going live, but
I
yeah.
wanted I wanted to put it some days before of the release of the
Okay.
album because it's cool, you know, because we are talking a little bit about this dystopian point of view. So some days
Yeah.
before, I usually put it, you know, like every Friday, doesn't matter when the album's been released. But sometimes when there is a really releasing of the album, I'm trying to stay or the day before. So
Okay.
we are all there. So you see, I'm even like, I like to be well prepared and organized, but it's just me doing this work. Sometimes I have someone helping me. I bring musician to do interview with me sometimes.
Yeah.
So they just mix and put it out there. Sometimes being
Okay.
yourself, even in any field, without filter, it's the best. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
at home, looking at the window. There is no microphone. We are just that's the best thing to do. Like that's
Yeah.
what people like the most for as I understand. Yeah. So let's remember. So you said that you will release some single. So when will people see this interview? There will be already some single drop off.
Okay. So I guess I can talk about it in
Yeah.
retrospect. So by
Yeah.
the time this interview comes out, there'll be 4 singles out. Slow Blade, Feel Again, Cells Within Cells, and Skin, which I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I'm like 2 of them, Slow Blade and Cells Within Cells, and more sort of my traditional sound, where it's that industrial with electro elements. But I wanted to put out Feel Again and Skin as well, because they're very much like the other side of the coin of
Yeah.
my sound, and the album I'm releasing. Definitely some of the different sounds I'm experimenting with, and I think those 4 singles really represent the album well.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, from your basically in the album there would be kind of 2 different sound as well, like different influences, like
Yeah.
like different nuances and shades. So how you would describe the project, this album, like in your own word?
In one word.
In your own word. If you say
Oh, my own
one word,
words. So I'm going to need
let's
more
make
than
it
one.
difficult. Let's make it, yeah, one word. You'd said that.
One word.
I'm going with the flow.
Probably okay would be the one word I'd use, because you know
Okay.
it's
Okay.
it's non-committal. So,
Okay.
but if I was going to describe it in my own words, it's I grew up loving electro music, and I got into metal music when I was a teenager, and for years I was trying to find something that was the middle ground between the two, and industrial was sort of the closest I found to it. And for me, I really want to take the interesting instrumentation that you find in electronic stuff with the more aggressive sound of metal, and Binary Order is expressing myself with that. There's no sort of restrictions on genre or sound. It's whatever I think is the best to represent myself, or the song I'm singing. A lot of people I've met have been like, oh, you know, I can't have a synthesizer on this. It needs to be all natural, or I can't put a guitar in this. It'll turn this electro song into a rock thing. And for me, it's just whatever like fits the track is what I'm going to use.
You are doing your music. You're not
Yeah.
just producing for a movie or for something. That would be cool about that, by the way. If you should, I want to make you this question. Let's try. If you are a producer, okay, so with your music, let's say which I know already the answer, people, but as well, which type of music of movie you would like to make, you know, compose music for? Like how to see this movie? Like let's say, for example, we set a type of movies, so a genre of movies, and we can even choose the title of the movies. So basically, you became the director. Okay, you became the director and composer, and
Right.
we can choose the main two character, which is the main one, the actor and the villain. So I just came into my mind. So let's start with the genre and the the genre.
Okay. I've often thought about this, and there's a movie specifically that I would like to
Really?
score, but we'll do the individual parts. So genre, probably cyberpunk,
Okay.
sci-fi, cyberpunk.
Okay.
So yeah.
So if we want to give a title,
Right. Well, can I say the title of the film that I want to score? So
okay.
basically, it's my favorite film is Akira, if you know it, the
No,
anime.
no, but that's cool. You gave me a suggestion, something to watch in a later day, the interview. That's good.
So you want me to go with that or?
No, no, you can go. You can go. I'll say
Oh,
that I'm noting to myself to watch it later.
oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically, yeah, my favorite film is Akira, sort of tied with Jurassic Park. But
yeah,
Akira is a big thing for me, and there's been rumors for years that they're going to do a remake of it, and I'm not really too happy with the idea of doing a remake, but I've always thought like if I was going to score something, I would love to score the remake to Akira. The soundtrack originally today is it's what I love about cyberpunk music, where a lot of people hear cyberpunk and they just think like a 4/4 beat with like an arpeggiator and a
yeah,
synth, that kind of thing. But Akira's soundtrack is so organic and so overwhelming and intense. And it's like I can't pronounce the name for them because they're Japanese, but they're like this orchestral drum outfit, and they created this insane soundtrack for the anime. And I think like if you were it's kind of like the soundtrack to Blade Runner 2049 versus like the original Blade Runner. I think Hans Zimmer's thing is fine for the sequel, but it's not Vangelis. And I think if they ever do a new Akira or a remake or something, I think they like I don't know, I'd love to be involved in that essentially.
yeah. But I mean, we are saying that you are the producer, so you can, and the director, so you can do that, of course. Let's dream a little bit, thinking positively, always track positivity. And if we want to, you were speaking about Kira, so we have the main character who
Mm.
would use as main character.
Oh, I suppose it's Kaneda.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I don't know if there is a villain, but let's pretend there is a villain.
Essentially it's Tetsuo.
Okay.
So you've got Kaneda and Tetsuo as the protagonist and antagonist.
Okay. So we made all your movie, and basically you can even do an album with that. So it wasn't just a
Yeah.
yeah, it would be super cool, like writing a movie, and like there are a lot of good composer there. For example, there is B.R. McCreary. B.R. McCreary.
Oh, yeah, he did The Walking Dead.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did everything. The Walking Dead, Lord of the Rings, the Outlander, Assassin's
Assassin's
Creed
Creed.
Valhalla. Yeah, a lot. It's amazing. I'm waiting for interviewing. I'm, st-
Yeah.
I'm friends with him on Facebook. I'm trying to,
Okay.
waiting the right moment to write because it's
Yeah.
a good musician.
Yeah.
Yeah. As well, a good musician as well. So that's right. But coming back to your work, so the artwork, you said that it was generated by AI, or I misunderstood?
Yes.
Okay,
It
so
was generated. Yeah.
which
So,
was the prompt you give to AI to generate that image? What the thought
um,
behind it?
I can't even remember. I was used with an app called Imagine,
Okay,
and I'd worked with people before. I was getting them off of Hungry Artists, the Reddit subreddit, and
okay,
it was sometimes it worked out, but it was like people were never as passionate about creating something for someone else as I would be creating my own stuff. And
perfect.
I can't draw. I can figure some stuff out in Photoshop. I can put stuff together. Um, but when the AI arts come along, it was like the final piece, really. You're still sort of like just putting
Yeah.
words in and hoping for the best. I think I generated about 600 images before I settled on the one that I went with.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a
So you
lot.
went
It
through
was
a selection.
sorry.
So did you go through
For a section.
a selection of all these images?
Oh yeah, I've still got them all saved. All 600 because they were all really cool, and it was just whittling them down. And the one I went with like really striked me. Just sort of like the emptiness of it, I really liked. But the prompt, from what I remember, it was just words like dystopian,
Yeah.
cyberpunk, future. I think I had the future belongs to the mad in there at one point. My flatmate kept telling me to put the word ghoul in there because he wanted like creepy looking people. And that's why there's a little man in there.
Yeah.
It was just stuff like that, and it was just
Yeah.
constantly throwing stuff in until it came out.
But for example, of course, like you said, you took take inspiration from Mad Max for the name of the album. But
Yeah.
for you, Benjamin, who are these mad people that belong to the future?
I think yes, a good question. I think it's all of us. Like obviously that title wasn't just sort of like slapped on the album without any
No.
meaning. It really sort of sums up where I am and where I think society is. And if we look at like, especially partisan politics, like you go online and the way everyone's shouting at each other from both sides and just the chaos and the insanity. And I think we're just going to continue to sort of tumble down this same thing and we're just going to get worse and worse. And like we will be the mad that the future belongs to. Because the opening monologue from Fury Road, he says that it was hard to tell who was more crazy. No, when the world fell, each of us in our own way was broken. It was hard to tell who was more crazy, me or everyone else. And I've always sort of like, you can really apply that to where we are now, as far as I see it as a society. And that's why the title fits so well for me.
Yeah, that's really deep because as well, like you say, you take a look, it can be an easy album, like a way, like if we just put it to the listener, like we said, just to chill about thinking about dystopian future for itself, just an imaginary one. So it could be in easy listening, but for deeper people, can be as well applied to the present and the future. So with the reality ground.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately we are, I think, already in this dystopian future. And we are going towards. I don't want to go into too much in details, but I think we are going towards that.
Like I agree. I was joking with my flatmate the other night about like Running Man, you know, the Schwarzenegger movie. That's a dystopian thing, and that's based in 2017. Blade Runner's based in 2019. So we're beyond where the movies said we was going to be. That all this stuff come from. Yeah, I think Mad Max was based in like the early 90s or something. But yeah, I think we are we're close.
A lot of historians long time ago, years ago, predicted or they thought that in the future, like century later, we would live in a kind of world like that. I think it was even before that Mad Max were released. Like it was released like this kind of, we had so much futuristic things like technology, and in the same way we had the opposite side, like coming back to the old, like almost medieval times, like the rural world, but not the rural world we used to see, or our grandfather, even beyond. So you see, already people kind of predict that way, and I think that the movies and the society and everything goes along with that.
Yeah.
And we're going through that. I mean, I do not hope so. Like the big, I don't know, subway, the fastest train, and then we have the horse, like.
Yeah.
That's weird. But just coming back a little bit about the releasing before ending the interview. So I want to just kind of summarize a little bit. If so the album out 28, so basically will be a few days after we're doing this interview will be released, so people watching this interview, how they can find the album, in which platform, physical copy, MP3, online.
Well, it's actually the 28th of November, so it's like a month after this. So but yeah, it's gonna be everywhere. It'll be YouTube, Bandcamp, SoundCloud, even though that's a dead platform as far as I'm concerned. Spotify, I'm just it's gonna upload and everywhere. It's gonna be free everywhere it can be. YouTube is gonna be free, Bandcamp it'll be free to download.
Oh,
Spotify we completely
why
free.
do you, I mean, can I, if I ask, if I may ask why you choose to do that free?
Because I'm more interested in people listening to my music than making money from it. So
That's
I'd rather people just consume stuff. Yeah, I go on Bandcamp and I get why people have to do it, and they put stuff behind a paywall, and it's fine, but it's like I'm more interested, and I think I always will be with people sort of experiencing my music or listening to it rather than sort of paying me for it.
that's really nice and humble for you to say that. And I wish that, I mean, you have to make a living as well, of course, but that's really nice of you to do that. So I will be
Yeah.
available on each platform.
Yeah.
And you planning some live kind of just right now they're releasing music and working on that?
Well, I'm working with two PR companies at the
Okay.
moment. I've got there's going to be a premiere coming up. I don't know if I can say where it's going to be. It's what I think it's Regen magazine, as far as I know. So you can be able to listen to it early there. There's probably going to be some other stuff I'll be doing when it gets closer to the time. I've got some more interviews coming up, and there's some more singles coming out. But yeah, so when it
Yeah,
gets
that is
closer.
more. And live shows, did you plan something?
I've been keeping them in the back of my mind.
Okay, so
But
maybe in
yeah.
the future we will see something.
Yeah. Look, my whole thing with that is I don't want to make music or a vocal performance that I can't do live. So I'm very much keeping everything sort of restricted to the idea that it could one day be done live.
That's important to know. What can I say? Thank you so much, Benjamin. It was a really pleasure to do this interview with you and talk a little bit about movie, music, and whatever happened in the world. And
Likewise, it's nice to meet you.
yeah, thank you so much. It was and have a good rest of the day. And I will keep you posted about the releasing of this interview. And good luck with the album. And
Well, thank you.
let's hoping to see some other maybe in after the album will be released. We'll do some interview talking about movies.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be great.
Me too. Okay, we will run something like mixing music and movies together.
Yeah,
Something more
yeah,
fun. Yeah,
we could just talk about movie soundtracks or something. That'd be cool.
thanks. That's a perfect idea for a new, like a new column, like talking only about music and soundtrack. You chose.
Yeah.
Perfect. You will be the first guest. Thank you.
Okay, I could talk about the Fury Road soundtrack or the Jurassic Park one all day. So
Perfect. And I will talk about Barry McCreary. So
yeah,
we'll
that's
argue a
great.
little. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
The pleasure. Bye.